Hey there, I'm Ann, also known as EANRN on Instagram and Ravelry. I am a crafter, and this is my new channel about crafting all the things. I have been a lifetime crafter. I am 48 years old, and I've been married for 26 almost years. In August it'll be 26 years, and I have two kids that are adults. My daughter is 24 and my son is 22. I have been a nurse for 25 years, and the last 11 years I have been a school nurse. So it is currently summer break, so I am off for the summer and thought I would think about starting a podcast. So here we are. We'll see how it goes. So I have been crafting, like I said, pretty much my entire life. I started off with cross stitch when I was a kid, moved into crochet, painting, anything crafty, I have tried it. So it has become pretty normal for me to try new things and jump full force in. I was a huge scrapbooker when my kids were little, and even got into selling Stampin' Up stamps and doing a lot of paper crafts and cards and stuff like that. And then when I got into knitting, I jumped full force into knitting as well. So when I like something, I jump right in. So here we are. I have recently gotten back into cross stitch, and so this podcast is going to be mostly about knitting with some mostly about knitting with some cross stitch thrown in. I also crochet, but those are mostly relegated to scrappy blankets. I have started English paper piecing, and I sew. I know how to sew clothes, quilts, project bags, and the like. So I think we should jump right in. So if you haven't noticed my shirt, it is a summer sock camp shirt. I have it personalized with my name, and at the bottom it says Camp Magic Loop, because I am a magic loop sock knitter. I can do the other kinds. I can do 9-inch circs. I can do DPNs, but my main easiest, fastest for me is magic loop. So for the knitting, I am going to talk about, and I do have a notebook with some notes for me, but I'm going to talk about finished socks and current sock whips. I do have other whips that are on hold right now because summer sock camp is going on, and I am just knitting all the socks. So each year for Christmas, I give my nieces and nephew socks, and my mother-in-law and my husband and my kids and my parents. Everybody gets socks for Christmas. So I have used summer sock camp the last 3 years. This is the third year that it has been a thing, to kind of get a huge jump start on sock knitting for the nieces and the nephew. So I'm not going to say who each pair are for in case somebody watches, but I do want to show you what I have done so far. So at this time, I have 6 pairs finished. Now, like I said, I am a school nurse, and it is summer break, and sock camp started the first Saturday of summer break. So kind of knitting is my job right now. So I have done a lot of sock knitting. So the first pair that I started and finished was a DK weight pair of socks, and this is I just have one on the blocker, but here's the other one. This is the DK Weight Vanilla Socks by Kay Litton of the CrazySockLadyDesigns. She put this out as a free pattern last year for summer sock camp. And I used my Yarnable yarn from the August 21 box, the Hypnotic Yarn Plush sock, which is their 85-15 blend of superwash merino nylon, and I held it double. And then on the cuff and tip of the toe, I held two different neon yarns from Malia Mayed It together to just add a pop of each. I did a heel flap and gusset, and I always do the double gusset under the foot by Christy Payne, and that's where your decreases are under your foot, and it gives you a nice, if you can see the shape of that heel, it gives you a nice cup of your heel from the heel flap and gusset, and it fits my foot the best. It's my favorite heel for my socks, so that's typically what I have done for all my heel flap and gusset socks. I always do the under the foot, and then that's a free pattern by Christy Payne, who is Turtle Girl 76 on Ravelry. I will have links in the description box below, but it is a great heel pattern, and it gives you, it really cups your heel so that you get a good fit for your socks. So those were 48 stitches on a US 3.25 millimeter needle. The colorway is called Sweet and Sour, and like I said, I held it double, and those were my first finish. Those were really quick. It took less than 24 hours to knit this pair. DK weight socks work up super quickly. And again, my job, knitting. So I finished that pair, and then immediately cast on the next pair, which is, the yarn is from Knit Picks Felici, and the colorway is Game Over, and these are just a vanilla sock. But I recently have gotten a new pattern for a short row heel that I wanted to try, and it is the What the Heel Roomy short row heel by Thias Bueno on Ravelry, and it is a short row heel, but then you do extra short rows in there to give you a little bit of a Y shape on your short rows. I don't know that you're going to be able to see it in this yarn, but it gives you an extra bit of yarn, extra bit of room in your heel so that it translates over your instep, so you have a little bit more room in your sock. So I wanted to try those, so I have done that on several pairs here that you'll see. But these are knit on a US 1 2.25 millimeter, and I did 60 stitches for that, and I was able to get both socks out of 50 grams with a contrasting heel that was left over from my Sweet Tea Yarns Advent Calendar from 2021, from Molly Klein Designs. And I think that's it for that pair. So that's the second pair. Next is a pair of men's socks, and it's a patterned sock, so they took a little bit longer than just the vanilla socks, but still a good quick knit. These are Hedgehog Fibers in the Pod colorway with contrasting cuff and toes. These were leftovers from my Moonglow Yarn Company Advent Calendar, the Rainbow Advent Calendar. And I just used those because I thought they went nicely. And this pattern is the Socks for Dad pattern by Kay of the Crazy Sock Lady. And it's a really good knit purl texture sock that's easy to memorize and read. And again, I did a heel flap and gusset, but did the under the foot double gusset. You can see there 1, 2 gussets, lines of decreased stitches. So that pair, these were knit 64 stitches on US 1.5, which is a 2.5 millimeter needle, and this Hedgehog Fibers Sock is a 90-10 blend, and I think these turned out great. So there's those. And then the 4th and 6th finished pairs that I did are similar but not matching, as my mom always used to say, or still does. Similar but not matching. These are for one of my family members, 2 of my family members for Christmas. Highly doubt they'll watch it. I have twin nieces and they got accepted into Charleston Southern University, and so I found a skein of Nomadic yarns, which I do have that tag here, Nomadic yarns. Ooh, that's bright. Okay, Nomadic yarns, and it's in her twisty sock, which is an 80-20 superwash merino nylon blend in the late night cheesecake colorway. And I knit them the main color with the striping yarn, and then the heels, toes, and cuffs are different on each pair, so they can kind of tell them apart, and they are in the school colors of CSU. I did the the heel, Roomy short row heel on these socks as well, and they are both knit with a US 1 2.25 millimeter with 64 stitches. And on one I did a 2x2 rib at the top, and on the other one I did a 1x1 rib. So this is both of them, and you can see that the heels, toes, and cuffs are kind of different. So this was the first pair I finished, and it has a gold blip at the cuff, and then the toe is the same gold, and then the blue heel. And then this one has the blue heel and toe, and then a yellow. No, blue toe and cuff and a yellow heel. So those pairs are completed. And there's the second socks. So those are done. And then the last finished pair that I have was the 5th pair that I finished. And these are the Rhinebeck Roomies pattern. Ooh, dropped one. Rhinebeck Roomies pattern by Kay, Crazy Sock Lady. And this is out of a 75-25 blend that I dyed myself a long time ago, probably 7 or 8 years ago. I dyed this yarn, and then I used just a random mini for the toes and cuff, and again a random mini for the heels. So these are them. I'll show you the patterning and the color. So this is the Rhinebeck Roomies pattern. I did these on US 1 2.25 millimeter needles, magic loop again, like I've said, that's my jam, and 64 stitches, and the double gusset under the foot heel. Let me see if I can show you that on the blocker sideways so you can see it possibly a little bit better. Maybe not, maybe not. There's a line of decreases that makes a Y or a V underneath your foot. That probably didn't really show you. So anyway, those are done. So those are the 6 finishes that I have for summer sock camp so far. And let's just keep the knitting socks going. I have 3 pairs of socks on the needles right now. The first pair that I have in a Daisy Girl and Company bag that I got from Kay of the Crazy Sock Lady. This is a Sock Lady heavy podcast, and I am knitting 2 at a time, which I do sometimes, but not often. 2 at a time, vanilla socks, and I am getting ready to put in the heel. This is Knit Picks Felici again, and the color is Material Girl. And these are 64 stitches on US 1 2.25. All of my needles are ChiaoGoo Red Lace. I have the interchangeable set of the regular and the minis and the shorties and ChiaoGoo everything. I love ChiaoGoo Red Lace. I will be putting in a the heel sock again for these in this yarn. It's kind of a pale pink, goes with the gray and the pink stripe that we've got going on here. So yeah, those I started a couple of days ago, and we'll probably put in the heel the next day and get those finished up. The next pair of socks that I'm working on, I'm only doing 1 at a time, and this is the first sock. These are the Follow Your Path socks by Kay Litton. This yarn is Neighborhood Fiber Company, and it's their studio sock, and it's 100% superwash merino. And I am doing that Follow Your Path pattern by Kay. And I've got an Ann Tudor gnome stitch marker there. I've got the heel in, and I just finished the double gusset decreases, and I'm starting on the foot. And I am, instead of carrying the twisted stitches all the way down the front of the foot, I'm just doing the 3x1 rib that kind of correlates with the pattern, just leaving out the twisted stitches just to make it smoother on the foot for this recipient. I know that she will appreciate that better. The minis, contrasting colors, the gold at the top is just a random leftover. I don't know what it's from, but the maroon is also from the Moonglow Yarn Company Rainbow Advent from 2021. So yeah, this is the first sock. I'm on the foot, and hopefully we'll finish that up. These are 56 stitches on a US 2.75 millimeter ChiaoGoo Red Lace needle. And this is a fixed circular. And then the last pair of socks. Oh, I didn't tell you what colorway that is from Neighborhood Fiber Company. I looked up how to say it because I'm not sure. It's Basquiat. So it's Basquiat. Basquiat? Something like that. Yeah. Okay, so then the last pair of socks that I have on the needles are DK weight socks, and this is actually a test knit for Julianne Knitter, who is Twin Stitches Designs. She's coming out with a new DK weight sock pattern, and I got chosen to test knit, and this started yesterday, day before yesterday, I don't know. Anyway, I finished the first sock, and this is, like I said, a DK weight sock with a texture pattern there. This yarn is Noble Character Crafts in her 75/25 DK weight superwash merino nylon yarn. It has a German short row heel and then a texture on the top with knits, pearls, and slip stitches. Very pretty. The pattern is on the, not on the back of the sock, only on the front of the leg and the top of the foot. So I have the first sock completed and have started the cuff on my second sock. Barely got a couple of patterned rows in. So this colorway is called Sweetness, but Noble Character Crafts does not dye yarn anymore, so you can't get it. But I have a sweater that I knit out of it and love, and this was some leftovers, so I knit these from the using the leftovers to knit these. And this is living in a new bag I have from I Heart You, who is Laura. She has a podcast and Instagram. Like I said, links will be below. And those are all of my current whips that I'm working on. Like I said, I have other whips that are going that are on hold right now while I'm going sock crazy. I have a sweater and all kinds of things. Who knows? So for my plans for upcoming knitting projects, my plans are to do more summer sock camp knitting. I have already wound up the Happy Mermaid Yarn Company sock set. That is the Summer Sock Camp 2022 colorway called Gone Camping. So it is a kind of army green with blips of blue and brown and gold in it. Very pretty. And the yellow, golden with brown speckled minis included with that sock set. So that will be, once I get these other three, or at least two of them finished, that will be cast on next. And those will be for me because I can. Another sock camp start that will happen. I've got this homespun house from Kay of Crazy Sock Lady Co. I got this on her update, and it's Molly's soft sock set in the Pour Some Sugar on Me colorway, just for $75.25. Very pretty. And then I also am going to be participating in Sock Week with Nitty Natty and the Love and Stitches podcast. And so I was able to get a pair of Tiger's Eye Shark yarn from Yarn Over New York in her Times Square sock set. And the mini is called Ocean Deep. And this is her $75.25 sock yarn as well. Very pretty. So I may start work on the first sock before Sock Week, and then save the second sock for Sock Week. And then at the end of Sock Week, I'll have a finished pair. Yeah. So those are my upcoming sock plans. And then other than that, just work on projects once I decide I've had enough of socks for a minute. But all of those socks that I have currently on the needles, that will finish up all of my Christmas sock knitting. So that makes me very happy. One of the other crafty things that I like to get up to is sewing. And I just brought this over to carry the upcoming yarns. I made myself a project bag with a vinyl cover like the Daisy Girl and Company. I used a Rifle Paper Company lining and just some green dragonfly fabric. I enjoy dragonflies a lot, and green, lime green is my favorite color. So I had to get this fabric when I saw it, and I've wanted one of these bags for a good long while. And when I got this one from Kay's Update, I thought I would try to make one, and I did. And this one's a little bit bigger, so it'll be good for sweaters or bigger shawl projects than just socks. Okay, moving on to cross stitch. So I have been watching Susan Seitz of Criminally Creative Podcast is a friend of mine who I know through knitting, and I've been watching her podcast, and she is a wonderful cross stitcher, and watching her kind of got my thoughts going back to cross stitch. I have come back to it over the years several times and dropped it and come back to it, etc. And so when I've seen her talking about it on her podcast, it kind of got me really interested. And so I started watching some other floss tubers, just random ones. I typed it in, and I usually will pick somebody that's just starting, so I'm kind of from the beginning. But anyway, it kind of got my juices flowing. So I have pulled back out my cross stitch, and I am going to move things around so that it's easier to get to. All right, I have one finish. So a friend of mine just got a camper, and I was at Hobby Lobby looking at the things like you do, and I needed a color of floss for one of my current works in progress for cross stitch. And so while I was on the aisle, I was just looking at things, and I saw this Happy Camper cross stitch kit, and it was the kit that had the fabric, the thread, the needle, you know, all the things were in there. So I got it and finished it, and this is it. And it, let me turn this down a little. It's a little bit better. So it's just a camper with a heart, and it says Happy Camper, and it came with the wooden dowel, and I braided some floss and made the handle, and it's 14 count Aida. I did 2 strands over one box and just did exactly what the pattern said, and it's super cute, and I cannot wait to give that to her. It's been kind of hanging up here while I've been waiting to give it to her, to see her. So hopefully I'll get that to her soon. Yeah, so that is the Happy Camper. It's by Birds Studio, and like I said, I got it at Hobby Lobby, and I think it was like $4. Not expensive, just super cute little small. So 2 of my whips that I have are old. One is really old, like before I got married old, and one is in the last 2014. So 8 years? Oh, golly Pete. All right, so let's start with the oldest. And I am, like I said, just coming back to cross stitch, so I don't have fancy cross stitch bags sewn yet. So I just have these from Amazon, but they work. And I don't have a picture of this because, like I said, this is old. But this is the Angel of Hope by Lavender and Lace, designed by Marilyn Leviat Emblem, and it's copyrighted 1991. My friends, that was 30 years ago because I graduated from high school in 1991. Oh, mercy. So yeah, I have worked on this on and off through the years, and initially was going to try to finish this for a friend of mine from high school who I referred to as my angel, and she is now my guardian angel because she passed away. She had breast cancer, and so she has passed away. So I never finished it for her, but I will finish it in memory of her eventually, hopefully. So all of it is finished except for one wing and the sparkle parts and the back stitch. So there's really no excuse to not finish it. So here it is. It's beautiful. I love it. Bring it a little closer. And that's just my llama needle minder. She's beautiful. Her heart needs to be added because that's gold fiber. And then obviously the other wing over here needs to be done. But I love it. I want it to be finished. This was the very first time I ever stitched on linen, and that was a learning curve. And as I've gotten older, it's been harder to work on. I don't know if you can tell, but sometimes I'm looking up like that. That is because I have progressives and I have old eyes. So I am, it's on a 32 count linen, and I'm stitching with 2 threads over 2 over 2. I think that's the lingo. So that is Angel of Hope by Lavender and Lace. And I hope for that to be a finish in the not too distant future. Next is a Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery pattern called Mysterious Halloween Town. I don't have a finished object or a finished picture. I would have to, if I can insert pictures. I've never edited a video in my life. So if I can, I'll see if I can find a picture of both that Angel of Hope and this one. Golly, this is all wrinkled. But this is the Mysterious Halloween Town. It was a mystery stitch from 2014. I bought it as a kit at that time and worked really hard on it for half of it and then kind of put it down. So here it is. So the left hand side of it here, from the 3 pumpkins and the scarecrow to the end over here, was all finished before I picked it up the other day. So everything on the right of the pumpkins is new. So I've worked on it a little bit. So all of this is new. And it has a border at the bottom that says Halloween Town with candy and stuff like that. And then this is a bakery, and there's a witch and an owl over on this side. So that is where I am on this guy. I hope to finish that as well. This was my first ever time using fancy fabric. This is, I'm pretty sure it was a Picture This Plus linen that was in the kit, and some of the flosses are, I used everything that came in the kit, and some of them are the Gentle Art and Weeks. Let me see what this is called. Weeks Dye Works. Where's the green? Yes. Sorry. Weeks Dye Works are some of the variegated flosses. That's the kind of modelly green. So yeah, that one I feel like will be finished hopefully before Valentine's Day, before Halloween this upcoming year. Now, this start is just a very, very small bit done and is not a huge priority like the other two. Not as excited about finishing it, even though I'm excited about it. It's just I'm not as excited. This is a llama, and it is by Light Unicorn Designs, and this is a printed out picture of it, and I want him to or her to hang in my craft room. And I have just barely started. So that's its nose, mouth area. This is on 14 count white Aida 2/1. Sound like a professional. So yeah, that one is started, but I started it during the pandemic. I think it was, I can't remember exactly when, but it was the summer of 2020 at some point. I started that. I did a couple of cross stitches for friends. One was a Love That Journey for You with flowers in a hoop, and then I did a Disney themed one for another friend who is Disney obsessed. But those have been gifted. And so yeah, I started that llama and then just kind of got out of the cross stitch thing again, like I do. But since I got back into cross stitching this time, I was looking on 123 Stitch and found a set of patterns by, let me get it out because I'll mess it up, Jardin Privé, and they are the Histoires des Moutons, history of sheep. And it is a set of 4. And again, if I can figure out how to put a picture in, I will. But it is kind of like a sampler, and you can knit. I'm gonna do that every time. You can stitch these individually or put them all together. And this is the all together picture of it. So there's 4 sets. There's set 1, set 2, set 3, and set 4. And this one has a spinning wheel in it. And I haven't mentioned the fact that I do spin wool or spin yarn, and that is another one of the crafts that I get into. But I bought that set because I wanted to do that. I bought the fabric, which is 20 count country mocha Aida, and I have it all kitted up. Here's my fabric, and I have all of the flosses, all the called for. So I am not letting myself start this until I either finish the Angel or Halloween Town. So that has me motivated to work on those, and if I feel so inclined, I may make myself finish both before I can start that. The llama, like I said, is not a priority as much. I want it, but not as much as I want the other 2 to be finished. And so I'll let myself start these before I have to finish the llama. But I'm gonna do all 4 on one and hang that up in here in my craft room. And then I also just bought some patterns from a designer on Etsy, and it's X Cross Stitch Pattern X is the name of her shop. Again, links will be below. And again, I will try and put a picture in of the 2 sets that I got. It's 8 sets in each set, so 16 smalls of insects, and there's bees and dragonflies and ladybugs and moths and a spider and wasps. Just really kind of cool, different. The models are stitched on a darker fabric, and they makes them pop in the vibrant colors. I, like I said, love dragonflies and butterflies. That's a latch hook rug I did with my kids when they were very little, and they were not super thrilled about it, and I finished it, and so it hangs in my craft room. But I love dragonflies, and so I had to get the set. But that will be a start at some point in the future. And for now, I think that's all I was going to talk about today. So I just wanted to leave you with thank you for coming and watching. If you did, I appreciate it. I hope to do this again. And I know that life can sometimes get crazy, but I hope you'll take some time to craft all the things. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time.